Yo, what's up? How we doing? 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 I gotta get some things ready, and I'm not even gonna lie. I gotta go to the restroom. That's not even a lie. I probably shouldn't have started this right up the rip, but uh, it's 9 o'clock. Figured I might as well at least start this puppy. Let's get that puppy started, and you know what I mean. Trying to get a couple of things ready to rock, ready to rock, ready to rock. Fresh shave. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Uh, real quick, real quick. I gotta, I gotta use the restroom. I gotta use the restroom. We cracked open a cold one. That is a Pepsi. That is a blackberry Pepsi. Pepsi, Pepsi. I gotta use the restroom. We're just gonna cut to the chase. Almost knocked the camera over. I gotta use the restroom. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We'll be right back. We're gonna at least share my screen real quick so you know what we're talking about. But give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. I'm also gonna mute my mic. Just in case there's some shenanigans. I'll be right back. Let's get these back up and running. My fault. Right? My fault. Had to do that real quick because, dude, last night that got crazy. I had to go to the restroom pretty bad, and by the end of the episode, I was just shaking. I was just shaking. How's my camera? Am I like off screen? Am I going off camera a little bit? I don't want to be doing that. We'll fix it if we need to. But let's get the stream up. Make sure nothing's wrong here. We'll make sure it's muted, and then we'll jump right into this puppy. Dude, I was just shaking. There we go. Should be muted now. Lights look good. Lights look good. We just set them up. Personally, I think everything's ready to rock. I think it's ready to rock. I don't want to be in chat, though. What's going on there? I just want to... There we go. Okay. And then from there, we'll put this chat up. Yes, sir, I am. Well, actually, I don't know, dude. This thing's being weird. Do I just hit start record right after start stream? Is that how I do that? I think that's how I do that, huh? I should probably do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're 4 minutes in. But hey, you live and you learn. You live and you learn, baby. Okay. So, first things first, I really think I need to adjust that camera just a tad. Just a tad, my boys. Okay. Yes. Yeah, we're good now. We're good. We fixed everything. Looks like the screen share is not making no noise. I think everything looks good. I think we're ready to rock. So, I should probably be talking to the face right here. Talking to the face. So, real quick, zoom in here. I love that. I love this camera so much. It's pretty crazy. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you haven't been here before, this is Turning the Pages. We are a hard-hitting independent journalism kind of outfit here. We wear Nike around here. We think for ourselves around here. We do a lot of stuff around here. basically where I'm going with that is basically if you haven't been here before, hit the follow, hit the subscribe, hit all of those buttons, hit the bells, do the thing. Short and sweet. This is part 2 of the Epstein Top 100. I don't really have much else to say. We've already rambled for 2 hours about it. So without that, or with that, let's just get right to it. I think, you know. So, trying out some things. What do we think? What do we think about the intro? What do we think? It's on every episode. Nothing new, but first time using it live, right? So, yesterday we covered up a lot, or not covered up, excuse me. We covered a lot of crazy stuff yesterday. We covered the first 100 or first 50 of the 100 people that we're going to talk about in this podcast. I'm probably going to talk about more than 100. I don't know, dude. I got offline yesterday and I was like, dude, I could talk about this forever. I could yap about this. So let's get into it, okay? First things first, I'm going to share my screen again. We're going to talk about that website. This website, I recommend everybody, dude, just put this website, justice.gov. I can get you the whole link. Justice.gov/Epstein. Save that. Put that in your reading list. Put that in your bookmarks tab. Put that all over where it needs to be put down. Come on. Put it down. Put it down, my boy. Look at this. I was doing some deep diving earlier today. We're going to get into Leslie Groff, but look how many hits. Look how many hits. I'm going to say this out loud. I don't even care if it's controversial. The biggest enemy to women is other women. I'll say that again. The biggest enemy to women is other women. Seriously. We'll get into her. We're going to talk about some good stuff though beforehand. I don't know why on my share screen the camera looks like it's cutting out. Do I need to? Yeah, that's what it is. I need to move that over a little bit. See, we're learning. It's okay. But biggest enemy to women, man. Leslie Groff is crazy. We'll talk about her more in a bit. So let's jump right into the first person here. We're technically on person number 51. Sarah Kellen. Who's Sarah Kellen? Right? This chick was named in lawsuits as a schedule and recruiter. Oh, shoot. I forgot my notes. Where's my other notes? I don't want Claude. You silly goose. That's not what I wanted. And yes, I had Claude write my notes. Get off my ass. I had Claude write my notes. You would too. Don't lie to me. All right, I wrote something down about these first 5 because these first 5 are good ones. I took down additional notes that I didn't have. Okay, so we're gonna go right into this one. Sarah Kellen. Okay, if Ghislaine Maxwell was Epstein's number 2, Sarah Kellen was number 3. And some describers, or excuse me, some survivors describe her as even more hands-on to the day-to-day operation than Ghislaine Maxwell. Sarah Kellen served as Epstein's personal assistant and scheduler for years. Multiple victims named her in lawsuits as somebody who recruited them, who was where did it go? My screen's tiny. I'm so sorry, guys. Person who recruited them, who's present during the abuse, and organized the schedule of the girls. Court documents described her as one of Epstein's most trusted lieutenants. Okay. Here's what gets wild about her. She was specifically named in the 2008 non-prosecution agreement as somebody who could have been charged, and she received immunity underneath that deal. The same sweetheart deal that we talked about yesterday that let Epstein walk, okay? She was covered by that same one, too. So this gal, and we've got multiple photos of her. She's cushy cozy Mrs., so-and-so. She's obviously been pictured with Ghislaine several times. Not a good person, objectively. And you guys are going to find, if you're not already well aware, there's a lot of women in this trafficking ring. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan for the aspect that it's at least getting people to have a conversation that they've never had before. But you get where I'm going with it. a lot of women in this, and I made a joke earlier about the biggest enemy to women is other women, but it makes it harder for women to be vigilant and keep themselves safe when they have to look over their shoulders for people that should be protecting them. You know what I mean? Women should be protecting women. Here's what's wild. I talked about that. After the story broke wide open, Sarah, who changed her last name to Vickers after marrying NASCAR driver Brian Vickers, largely retreated from public life. She has not been criminally charged. Her immunity under the NPA is one of the most contested and criticized aspects of the entire legal saga. So that's fun. So that's lady number one. Cheers. It's a Pepsi. It's a Pepsi and it's Saturday night. Come on. Who are we going into number two? I gotta find my cursor. Nadia Marcinkova. I don't know how you say it. Also known as Nadia Marchenko. I think my wife just dropped something in the shower. Don't drop the soap, dude. What's going on? Today she runs this flight school. Nadia, not my wife. Today she runs a flight school in Florida. Marchenkova was described in court documents and survivor testimony as a young woman Epstein reportedly brought to the United States from Eastern Europe and allegedly told people he had purchased her from her family. Yeah, say that again. Epstein told people that he had purchased this woman from her family directly. That's sick. That's absolutely sick. People are selling their own kids, bro. They're selling their own kids. I don't even know what to say about that one. Yeah, that claim appears in court records, by the way. So let that land for a second. Several other survivors described her as both a victim herself and somebody who was used to victimize others. Now that is a pattern that runs throughout this case. That's why I wanted to bring it up to FaceTime. That's a pattern that we see throughout this case a lot. It's how Epstein kind of maintained a lot of his power. You know what I mean? It's how he got a lot of his power. I don't know why the camera is a little shakier today. It's like anytime I move even a little bit, it's just zooming in and out. I maybe should have done more test and analysis before I got live, but it's whatever. We'll bear with it tonight, and I'll work with it another time. But big trend we see throughout this. A lot of people, they both get hurt and hurt other people. Like Kellen, she received immunity under the NPA deal. She was never charged. Whether she was a survivor, a perpetrator, or both, that's a question that the courts never got a chance to answer legally. Okay? And reminder, she runs a flight school, and that's going to come up a little bit later. But I'll say it a little bit out loud right now in case I forget to bring it up later. This gal flew girls for Epstein, and she helped others. So now you know her. Bachelorette number 3. Sorry, I grew up watching Shrek as a kid, so Pixar babies, you know. DreamWorks babies, you know. Bachelorette number 3. What's behind door number 3? Adriana Ross. That's this one. There's a lot of photos of this one because she was a model. She was Polish-born, brought to the United States. She was a model before working as part of Epstein's household staff, which is pretty gross. She was named in multiple civil lawsuits as one of Epstein's assistants who allegedly recruited young women and was present during abuse. Victims described her as somebody who coordinated between Epstein's various properties. When she was deposed, she invoked the Fifth Amendment. Now, we're going to bring that up to talking screen here, okay? This woman invoked the Fifth Amendment over 250 times. Over 250 times, which very literally means when she was called upon by the state and by the court of law to talk about what she knows, she invoked her Fifth Amendment right, which basically means she has the right to remain silent. She didn't speak. 250 times she was directly asked something. Over 250 times she was directly asked something. In one single meeting. Okay, think about that. A deposition covers a lot of ground. But when every single question about her job, her duties, and the people that she knew is met with a fifth, that tells you something about the answers that would have been. Like the other ones, she has also received immunity deals. Okay, so we'll bring her back up because I'm tired of watching my head bounce all over the screen here. This guy, oh, I didn't mean to open up a link here. Oh, it's just IMDb. Bigger photo. This gal didn't like to play ball. But you could see in the background, right off the gate, they're clearly at a party. They're clearly cozy, right? There's a lot going on here. A lot going on here. So we'll take her down. Here's the bitch I wanted to talk about. Here's the bitch. So now you have a face to the name. This is Leslie Groff. There's a better photo of her. This is Leslie Groff. This is the one. This is the one that's been in the Epstein files more than literally any other person. And if you ask AI to answer this question for you, it won't. It'll say that there's never been an independent analysis that says who's done the most. What the fuck ever. I'm going to try to find it, actually. We'll pull up my Claude, because I literally typed, I was like, who did it? Here, let me pull it over here while I'm figuring this thing out. Let me pull it over here while I figure this thing out, and then when I'm ready to show you, I'll show you. But basically, long story short, with this gal, we'll keep her on there front and center because she should be front and center. Fuck this bitch. When I asked my AI, who's the number one person in the files, it fucking would not tell me. It tried to say that Donald Trump was the number one guy in the files. Now, hey, let's get some things clear, okay? Donald Trump harmed kids. Donald Trump is a bad person. Donald Trump is probably a pedophile. Donald Trump is definitely a rapist. Let's get all of those things out there, okay? That said, it is objectively a falsified statement to say that he appears in the files more than anybody else. Can we agree? Is that false? Is that false? Because here's why I think that's false. We started the episode by me kind of casually showing you how many times Leslie's in the files, and I'll do it again. Look how many times she's in the files. This is directly from the DOJ. This is directly from the justice.gov. 164,000 times. I haven't even read her synopsis about her. I wrote a whole thing about her. I didn't even read it yet because I fucking hate this gal. Now, watch what my AI says. If I could find my cursor, goodness gracious. Look at this. It says, who was named the most in the Epstein files on the .gov website? And I will read word for word so you don't think I'm capping. Great question with a nuanced answer, it says. Here's what the data... excuse me. Here's what the actual data shows. Quote, by sheer mention count across all 3.5 million pages, Donald Trump, with his name appearing thousands of times in the documents released to date. Oh. So by sheer mention alone, you say. By sheer mention alone. Okay, that's fine. Let's play that game. I'll play that game. By sheer mention alone. Now, AI doesn't know that the .gov website is literally a keyword search, which means literally any time a keyword posts, you'll know, right? You'll see it. It'll be right there, clear as day. Look at that. She's in the files almost 100 times more than Trump is. Okay? This woman right here, don't skip the prison. Bury her underneath it. Okay? Again, still haven't even read the synopsis of her that I wrote about. Let's read that. Leslie Groff was Jeffrey Epstein's executive assistant in New York for years, one of his most senior and trusted staff members. She was named in court documents and testimony as somebody who arranged travel for the young women Epstein abused, managed his communications, and coordinated logistics across his properties. Epstein described her as deeply embedded. Excuse me, I think I said Epstein. I'm so stupid. Victims described her, I was reading two lines at once. Victims described her as deeply embedded in Epstein's operation. Groff was also covered under the same immunity deal. So I don't give a fuck about that deal anymore. Fuck that. Let's get him out, okay? Let's take care of him. In a deposition, she denied knowing that anything illegal was happening. Okay? Victims have disputed that under oaths. She has never been charged. And as I've independently verified, because AI won't do it for you, she is the most named figure that I can find to date at time of recording. She's the most named figure in the files. The most named. So let's just be real about that. Let's be real about what we just covered for a moment. 4 women, all named. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Get everything set up. 4 women, all named by multiple survivors under oath, all described as active participants in or enablers of a child sex trafficking operation, all given immunity in 2008 before victims were even told the deal existed. And every one of them is free, uncharged, and living a normal life. And that is the legacy of the non-prosecution agreement. That is what Alex Acosta built. And that is what victims like Virginia Giuffre, Courtney Wild, and Maria Farmer have been fighting against for decades. Okay, let's keep moving. Now, let's follow the money. It always leads somewhere. Epstein's power wasn't just social, okay? He had access to billions, not just on his own, but with other institutions, individuals, and corporations. Oh, did I miss one? I think I missed one. Oh, goodness. I go out of order a little bit. Let's pull them up. Give me 1 second here. I had 2 talking paths I wanted to go over just in case I ran out of time. Here we go. I think it's actually underneath this one that's already open. There it is. Perfect. So there's actually, I think, one more. No, actually, Junkerman goes in this. I'm sorry. We are on path. Let's show her again. I hate to be frank about it, but I wasn't expecting the pretty face to be an investor here. She is. Let's go in her. Sorry, I can't remember 100 people that I just researched about in this last week at once. You know what I mean? Doing the best I can. Anyways, Nicole Junkerman, or might even be Junkerman because she's German, right? They kind of do the soft J's over there. Soft J's, they go for a jog. Not a jog, they go for a jog. Now, she was a she's alive. She is a German-British entrepreneur and investor. She is the founder of NJF Holdings, which you could probably do the math on that. I'm pretty sure it's just named after her. Her. I'm stupid. It's named after her. NJF, Nicole Junkerman. Probably family, maybe. Nicole Junkerman Family Holdings. Now, her name gained significant public attention when investigative journalist Whitney Webb published reporting connecting her to Epstein's social and professional orbit, as well as alleged connections to Israeli intelligence circles, and her position on a United Kingdom National Health Service advisory body. That was long-winded. Sorry about that. Now, She has appeared in Epstein-linked court documents. Let's get some other photos of her because, for lack of better phrasing, she looks like just any European woman that's heavily European. Where's the photos? There we go. She looks just like any Swiss or Austrian woman. So this gal right here, she's clearly not old. Clearly not old. She's named in the file. She's named in the orbit. She has connections to Israeli intelligence. Okay. She's on a health secretary board. What's that about? Why is she involved in so many things? First of all, that doesn't even make sense. It makes sense if you're like a professional in health, or if you're a professional in intelligence gathering, or if you're whatever. But my guy, look, if I'm like Ethan Page, the insurance expert, you know what I mean? Which I am, but I'm not Ethan Page, the doctor. You know, you can be one of a few things. I feel like you can't be all of them. She's trying to be all of them, and that's weird to me. That's very weird to me. Her name is worth knowing because it represents a thread in this story, the European business and intelligence connections, that hasn't received as much mainstream attention as the American political names. And there's a lot of those. We already have those. We're going to go over more of them. Thomas Pritzker. That's an American businessman right there. This guy owns Hyatt Hotels. He was like the heir to it. He is... Mommy and Daddy own money, and he got it. Let's just say that. He's got documented contact with Epstein. I don't got a lot about this guy, but dude, I'll just cut to the chase. Anybody that anybody that inherits what we call old world money, meaning they didn't make billions of dollars, they inherited billions of dollars, those people get wrapped up in the cesspool so freaking fast because those billions of dollars are very rarely actually theirs. Somebody else's, right? It's always somebody else's. Like Elon Musk, he doesn't have $1 trillion. He doesn't even have close to $1 trillion. He probably has like $1 billion, and everything else is tied up in debt and credit. And that's just something that we don't understand here as a peasant. So there's that. Next up on the list, we got Ronald Burkle. This guy looks like he wants to hurt kids. He is a billionaire investor. He is a Democratic fundraiser. He is the part owner of various sports teams and media properties. He looks like he wants to eat your children. Right, just like you said, can't be everything. You can be a lot, but you can't be everything, bro. You can't. You gotta be like, I only got one head to put this hat on, right? I can put on the insurance expert hat. I could even put on the podcaster hat. But if you try putting on too many hats, eventually you're just going to start looking like a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? So stick to one or maybe two if it's a pep rally. Jeepers. Okay. Ronald Burkle. Where did I stop reading off? Okay, so he has appeared already in contact records. He moved in the same elite social circles. He has not been named in any survivor allegations, but he looks like a diddler, so I'm putting him in here. He hasn't been charged with anything. His name comes up in a broader context worth naming. The network of Democratic aligned billionaires whose proximity to Epstein has been notably less scrutinized in mainstream coverage than their Republican aligned counterparts. Completeness? I think it's, yeah, I put an extra syllable in there I didn't need. Completeness, bro. That goes both ways, right? Billionaire investor. I don't care if you vote left or right. If you harm kids, you're on the list. We're putting you on the list, okay? And we always hear, like, Trump, he's the pedophile. Bro, I get that. I'm ready to slam my desk about that. Let's talk about the other ones, because there's a lot of them. So. And to my earlier point about inheriting money, Donald Trump inherited a lot of money. He got wrapped up in the cesspool. Crazy how that happens. I don't got a lot of money. I don't got to worry about somebody trying to wrap me up in the cesspool. It's not something I got to worry about. I definitely got to fix this camera, dude. I do not like it following me. It's driving me nuts. It was cool yesterday when it only did a little bit, but like, dude, it can't figure out where it wants to just stay at, you know? So we'll mess with some things. Stream number 2, baby. Stream number 2. Ronald Burkle, dude. I don't know. He doesn't make me feel right. He makes my stomach burn. Elliot Spitzer. This guy's under the age of 70. Lock him up. Former governor of New York. Former attorney general who built his reputation going after Wall Street corruption. But, oh, wait. He appeared in the contact book. Oh. How crappy is that? He's trying to fight corruption, but he's literally on the speed dial list for a really corrupt individual. That sucks. Darn. Don't you hate that? Anyways, this bastard, his whole career imploded 20 years ago in 2008 when it emerged that he was a client of a prostitution ring. No relation to Epstein. Completely unrelated to Epstein. It was literally, and I'm actually, like, I'm so serious. This ring was not related to Epstein. It was an above age, we'll call it, prostitution ring. He was fucking hookers. Let's just say that. He was fucking hookers. Okay? And as far as I'm concerned, as long as it was consensual between two parties, I don't care at that point. But he's already proved to be a sexual deviant. People who are sexual deviants usually cannot be rehabilitated. And I don't say that lightly. I have people in my family that are sexual deviants, and it's worse than drug addiction. Because, like, with drug addiction, this is a little sidebar story. We'll go to the talking head real quick. With drug addiction, there's, it's a whole lot. With drug addiction, there's like a 12-step program, and there's all this and that and the other. But people that are sexual deviants, it's like the first part to fixing a problem is admitting that you have one. And people that are sexual deviants aren't even like allowed to admit that they have a problem, either with like social stigma or with society saying that it's not a problem. There's like a million different reasons why sexual addiction versus drug addiction is just so much harder to cure. And I'm pretty intimately familiar with it because, again, I've got family members that can't keep it in their pants, for lack of better phrasing. And we've seen how that kind of controversy blows up a good household, you know. Shout out everybody in the chat. How you guys doing? What's up? Checking in for Pensacola, Florida. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dude, you are on that East Coast time for sure. Dude, cheers. Cheers. It's a Pepsi. It's a Pepsi. As long as I keep saying it's a Pepsi, I don't think YouTube's going to notice. If Brandon Herrera can shoot these things on YouTube, I think I can drink one. Right? Right? The guy literally shoots rockets at these things. I can have one. All right, where was I going? This guy, he was a shitbag. This guy was a shitbag. He was fucking hookers. He was on the speed dial for Epstein. But don't worry, he was trying to go after that corruption. He's trying to go after the corruption. Guy's a dipshit. Objectively a dipshit. I love these people too. We're gonna get them. Okay? Like, no, you're not. You sound like a 1950s radio broadcaster going after a communist. We're going to go get those guys, and we're going to go lock them up. We're going to rappel them up. We're going to rough them up. We're going to get them. Like, dude, what are you doing? You're stupid. Elliot Spitzer, you're a dumbass, bro. I hope you get locked up. George Stephanopoulos. Here's another dumbass that should get locked up. Now, most of you guys already know who this guy is. He doesn't need much of an introduction because when you got a last name like Stephanopoulos, I mean, dude, you're tripping and falling every time you say it, right? He's been in the game a long time. I think he started as like a journalist or whatever. What do my notes say? He was the chief anchor of ABC News, and he's the former senior advisor to Bill Clinton. Now, he is publicly acknowledged attending dinner parties at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse. Before I even say anything else, we know the Manhattan townhouse specifically is the location of a lot of abuse. A lot of abuse. It's known that Epstein had, we'll just say properties, because I don't know the full legality of it, if they were rental properties or if it was his personal property, you know what I mean? But he had properties where he shoved these women in from Eastern Europe. And those buildings were very proximal to the Manhattan townhouse, meaning we're going to shove these girls in a fucking room, and whenever we need them, we'll go pick them up. We'll bring them to the townhouse. That's like literally how that transpired. So when George says, oh, I did go to dinner at his house, and I probably shouldn't have been there. What happened at dinner? What happened at dinner? He said publicly that he regrets the association and he had no knowledge of Epstein's crimes. His name gained renewed attention because of his role as a major television journalist covering politics, including coverage of figures whose names also appear in the files. So that's a conflict of interest. If you are in a conspiracy of sorts, and your job is to cover that conspiracy, is it not a conflict of interest? How is that not a conflict of interest, right? How is that? It's I feel like that's a conflict of interest. If my job is to not investigate, but to bring light to the investigation that's going into people like me, that's a conflict of interest, bro. Come on. So anyways, this chat's popping off. I like it. Let me read some of this chat. Huh. Yes, dude. Gunshine State. I am a big fan of that. I think that's funny. Florida be wildin', by the way. Got some friends out in Florida. Florida's a great state, but you guys are on the news way too much. We got to get you guys out, or we got to get you guys out of the news for like just a week. You know what I mean? He goes, trying to hype the bejesus out of this video. Just one thing. How do I do that? Someone help me. I can't find my hype button. Oh, yeah, right now. So sadly, Joe, I appreciate the love. I'm not quite big enough to hype my video yet. I think I have to have 500 subscribers. So we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm early to the game, right? I'm a little early to the game. I appreciate the love, though. Help me get there. Share this to your socials, baby boy. Share this to your socials. If you see what you like and you like what you see, share it. Because this isn't going to get big on its own. I hate to admit it, but content like this doesn't get flooded to the algorithm. I'm not Mr. Beast handing out $1 million to people. I'm talking about, stuff that's not on your 5 o'clock news. So if you love this, man, let's share it, my friend. Share it. Bro. Reading the chat where it is. Yes, what's up, dude? I can barely. I just see Eddie. I can't see your photos. I barely know who it is, but I got a few folks I know named Eddie. I don't know if that's Edward. If that's Edward, that's my boy. But yeah, I'm off Facebook, brother. I got kicked offline permanently. Facebook said that I was selling drugs and guns on their platform. True story. Scouts honor. Hand to the Bible. They tried saying I was selling guns and drugs on their platform. This was before I even started the podcasting, by the way. Actually, check me on that. I'm pretty sure I was podcasting by that point, but I was getting like 10 views a video, bro. They tried saying I was selling drugs and guns. Me, bro. I live in an HOA. What do you mean I'm selling drugs and guns? What do you mean, bro? All right, let's get back on topic. George Stephanopoulos, he's a shitbag. Who's up next? We got Katie Couric. Couric? I think is how you say her name. Couric? Is that how you say it? It's a weird one. Katie Couric, she's the former anchor of the Today Show, CBS Evening News, and ABC News. Okay, so another journalist. Why are these people controlling the narrative, right? She has also acknowledged attending social events. She has said that she was horrified when the full scope of his crimes became public. Her presence, however, alongside with Stephanopoulos and others at Epstein's dinner table is part of a broader picture. He cultivated a lot of media presence, Where was I looking for that exact quote? Yes, bro. It's the boy. That is the boy for sure. That's the OG. That's the OG for sure. We go back like Ritz crackers, bro. Man. Oh, Katie Couric. Kenzie even goes, oh, this woman. We've seen Katie Couric, right? She's on the evening news. Everybody has seen this woman a million times. She doesn't need a lot of insight, but she's in the files, bro. And she immediately throws her hands up. I didn't know anything. Man, how many people can say they didn't know anything? Okay, just Epstein. Just fucking Epstein is attached to over 1,100 women, bro. 1,100 women for one man. I'm bringing up 100 names just in my episodes. You know what I mean? So you start to zoom out. Like, bro, it's probably 10 to 15,000 girls are in this shit. How many people do? No, you can't pull the, I didn't know. No. I disbelieve that. So we're putting her on the list. Who's next? Barbara Walters. Now, she's dead. Don't be going up and digging up her grave, all right? She's fucking dead. She's dead. But she has social ties to Ghislaine Maxwell. No allegations. But she's also a journalist, right? I think we've established a trend at this point that journalists, if they're not involved as overt pedophiles, they definitely help the cover up, right? They definitely help the cover up. So for the sake of she was born before World War II, I'll say may she rest in peace. And we'll assume that she did not actively engage in crimes. But did she know? I don't know. Was she handed a script on the evening news whenever things happen, and was she told to say certain things? I don't know. If you want my honest take, I actually think that takes place. I think that totally takes place. I think that there's a lot of people that are involved in this stuff that are willful idiots and are basically just chess pieces. They're just pawns. They're just, they're doing whatever they got to do. But I don't think they're always aware. And that's fine. You know what I mean? So she has social ties, but I don't know if she has anything else. So we'll let it slide. And if I find out more, I'll drag her through the mud. But I don't have anything to drag her through the mud with yet. I mean, you got to remember, she was born in 1929, right? So, I mean, damn near a full 30 years before Epstein himself. So, I mean, you just start to think about that just logistically. It's not going to make quite as much sense. And I'm not going into the stuff before Epstein yet. Epstein just merely picked up the torch of another pedophile ring. And you guys will find that with time. But meantime, let's get through our 100. Let's get through our 100. Because I'm only 12 into tonight's 50. We have Charlie Rose, another fucking journalist. Excuse my French. If the kids are watching, sorry. We got a former CBS News host, former PBS interview host. PBS is great, dude. PBS is the channel we all grew up on. Man, shout out in the chat. Shout out in the chat. Growing up in the days when you didn't have fucking cable, you'd listen to PBS, bro, because PBS had cartoons. Didn't matter if you had cable or not, bro. Didn't matter if you had cable or not. PBS had cartoons on Saturday morning, right? So PBS has a special place in my heart. I like PBS. You got like Clifford the Big Red Dog and all that shit, right? So we fuck with PBS in this house. Curious George, all that. But dude, this guy worked for them. I don't know if he's involved. But let's see what he's got about him. Guess when he got fired? 2017, 2 years before Big Boy got arrested. Guess what he got arrested for? Or guess what he got fired for? Sexual misconduct allegations from female colleagues. Entirely separate from Epstein. Charlie Rose. Let's get some more photos of this guy because some of these appear to be shitty. Let's get some actual photos of this man. Here, that's a photo. That's a photo right there. It's blurry, but that's a frickin' photo. This guy, which is crazy. I mean, he's old as shit. I mean, how old are you going to be active in the sexual endeavors, buddy? Apparently 10 years ago, he was still getting it up, and he was handsy, and he was fondling, and he was doing all sorts of stuff. He got fired for it. And good for the company. Now, he appeared in contact records and social circles. The combination of his own documented misconduct history and proximity to Epstein makes him one of the more pointed examples of a pattern that runs through this story. Powerful men in media, finance, and or politics who faced little accountability for years because of who they knew and what it would cost to cross them. This next one sucks, boys. I'm going to just state this right now. If you fuck with Harry Potter, you're going to hate this one. And I'm just going to state that out loud. He who should not be named is in the fucking files. No exaggeration. Voldemort, dude. Voldemort is in the Epstein files, bro. I'm reading the chat, sorry. I do hope we can get a chance to visit too, Eddie. That'd be great. That'd be crazy, bro. We need to catch up. Once my kiddo's like out of the super duper hard toddler stage, I think it would be pretty realistic to get on a flight and go down there. Flights ain't too expensive when we're not at war. You know what I mean? When we're not in the middle of a war with Iran, god damn, it ain't that expensive. Now I'm going to give Ralph Fiennes benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he is my Harry Potter boy. All I have on this guy is he was in the contact book. That's all I have. Right hand of God. I mean, I can literally share my screen with you. I wrote 2 words on Ralph Fiennes' contact book. He's in the little black book that we all heard about, 10 years ago when Epstein first started coming out. That was the only thing that they had on Ralph Fiennes. So I don't know much about him, but he is in the book. He's in the files for the sake of honesty, right? We just said it earlier. It doesn't matter who's involved. I got this shit tattooed on me. It doesn't matter who's involved. If they're involved, you got to talk about it. Also, congratulations, Edward. I am so happy for you, bro. 2 months away. That is crazy. I'll have to find a way to hit you up. I'm pretty sure I got you on Instagram. I'll hit you up on Instagram. I'll get you my number, and we'll keep in contact. Because yes, sir, we need to do that for sure. Congratulations. That's super awesome. Being a dad by far is the most motivating thing I've ever done. Like, it doesn't matter what you go through. It doesn't matter how much you struggle. You just have something else to push for now. You know what I freaking mean? Like, it's just, it hits different when you got a kid. Right now, my little girl, dude, she's at the stage where when I walk home, she's not even 2 yet, but she runs and we got the little hardwood floors, so she goes, and then you hear her and she goes, Dad. That's all it's about, bro. That's all it's about. I don't need to be a millionaire when I hear that every day. That's it. Pure and simple. So congratulations, bro. I'm really happy that you get to have that. We need more beautiful children of God in this world right now. We really do. Children heal us. That's just a fact, bro. That's just a fact, bro. Okay. So, man, that's awesome. We got some good news in the chat tonight. We love to hear that. Especially because we're talking about some dark shit. Mick Jagger, boys and girls. Rolling Stones. My wife's probably going to jump out here in the middle of the stream and go, oh my God, Rolling Stones. Because she makes fun of me. I listen to the Rolling Stones and, dude, this band is older than my grandpa. Okay? Like, almost literally. It's not actually, but the band's old as fuck. And I love them. I love the Rolling Stones. Great band. And way better than the fucking Beatles. If I'm going to be controversial tonight, that's what it's going to be about. That's what it's going to be about. Fuck the Beatles. Now, same thing as Ralph Fiennes, Mick Jagger. All I got on him, he's in the little black book. But Mick Jagger is from the party rock and roll era days. Like, man, like Kiss, Aerosmith, Leonard Skinner. Just think of those old bands like the 70s bands, right? Those 70s bands, I hate to say it, almost all of them were raping girls. And I hate saying that because I grew up with all those bands, but the groupies weren't overage. Let's just say that. The groupies were not overage a lot of times. Corey's in the chat saying, I don't know about that, bro. The Beatles have a couple of good songs. But dude, Give Me Shelter. That's the one. Yeah, dude, Joe's in the chat. He goes, he's been a predator for like 300 years. No, literally. Look at this. Frontman of the Rolling Stones. This is from AI, okay? This isn't even getting into the deep end. Look at this. Faced numerous allegations over a 60-year career, primarily focusing on extreme sexual promiscuity, infidelity, drug possession, and biographies, claims of sex addiction. Okay. Key allegations include affairs with bandmates and celebrities and a 4,000 partner estimate. God damn. Okay. No way that was all consensual. No way. Right? Mick Jagger. Look, when Maroon 5 said he had the moves like Jagger, what moves? What moves, Maroon 5? I don't want them. I don't want the moves that Mick Jagger's got. Love his music. Again, I truly love the Rolling Stones. I listen to them a lot. So does my daughter. She loves the Rolling Stones. But pieces of shit, right? Like Joe said just now, real certified dirtbag. I mean, just real certified dirtbag. And I won't go too far down the rabbit hole, but since we're on the topic, bro, I'll pull up one of my favorite bands. I mean, you can literally just type this, Kiss lyrics about underage girls. And I hate this, bro. I grew up listening to this band for literally like 15 years and only found out about these types of lyrics like, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago. I'm still not over this, bro. Oh yeah, Christine 16 is a song by American rock band Kiss. It originally appeared on 1977 album Love Gun. Bro, Christine 16. These men were already almost 30 at that point. You get where I'm going. The rock industry was bad. Now this is another one that fucking hurts me. My chest. Sean Connery. For all my oldies in the chat, you guys are already going to know who this is. That's motherfucking James Bond. That's motherfucking James Bond, boys. Same thing. He's just in the contact book. A lot of these guys, thankfully, don't have any allegations of abuse. But with a guy like Mick Jagger, he actually does. So we had to talk about that for a minute. But Sean Connery, he's passed on too. So same thing. Don't go digging up his grave trying to kill the guy again. But he was on the book. He did have the contact information for Jeffrey Epstein. Certified. This is certified truth. This is a fact. Take it to the bank. Cash that check. It's all cashable. And it sucks because, dude, Sean Connery is personally my favorite James Bond with the exception of Daniel Craig. I mean, dude, I'm heterosexual. I got the wife. I got the baby. But Daniel Craig, I think, perfectly encapsulates the sexual masculinity of James Bond, if that makes sense. Like, he's not fully straight. He's willing to fuck anything that walks. And that's like literally what James Bond actually is. And not a lot of the actors get that down. That's not saying that James Bond is gay. That's not even saying that he's bisexual. But he's willing, he'll fuck anything that walks. That's how James Bond works. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like these two guys a lot. They're the best as far as James Bond goes. As far as James Bond goes, Sean Connery's dead. He died like right after Epstein even got arrested. So the guy was 90 at the point. I really don't think he was involved, but he was at least in the contact book. Dustin Hoffman. A lot of you guys already know who this guy is. Very, very well-known man in Hollywood. Wrote a lot of books, wrote a lot of movies. Or actually, excuse me, I don't think he wrote movies. I think he was the filmmaker for a lot of movies. But same thing, Contact book. Not a lot of insight on the guy. We'll get to the next one. Peter Soros is the next one. I even Googled it because I wanted you guys to see it on this screen. Yes, that Peter Soros. This man is the nephew of George Soros. Do that thing like we always do. Pull them up. Pull them up on Wikipedia. Do that early life check. Do the schnozberries taste like schnozberries? I don't know, boys. Dude, yes. No, Joe, seriously. Dude, Bond's sex appeal is not properly discussed with words, I feel like. And I've watched genuinely all 25 James Bond movies. I love them. They are great pieces of cinema. But one of the things that's separated from the books to the movies is the books kind of have those, like, there's a little bit of 50 Shades of Grey to it. You know what I mean? Not literally, but if you've read them a little bit, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's just a lot more chutzpah to it, you know? He'll fuck anything. He will. People say that phrase, but he really will. James Bond will fuck anything. And good for him. And good for him. And yes, dude, Rain Man, I know. Same thing, though. Just a little black book. How far can we take that? I can't really take some of that stuff to the bank because it's like, dude, I got people on my phone from 20 years ago. They're probably not even this is probably not even the correct phone number. You know what I mean? Like, I could have somebody from my childhood, haven't texted them in 15 years. It could be a piece of shit on the other end of that phone. It might not even be my childhood friend. So, just being on the list doesn't mean anything, but George Soros' nephew was there, and George Soros is a piece of shit. So, we're going to put his family on this list. Evelyn de Rothschild. Now, this guy looks like Chevy Chase. Can we just agree? Let me get a sideline on this. Come on, bro. Tell me I'm not the only one who says these two looks alike. It can't just be... Come on. It can't just be me. Only the old photos. Only the old photos. If you're going to compare, only look at the old photos. But, dude, this guy looks like Chevy Chase. I don't know, dude. This photo right here especially, it's in the eyes. He looks like Chevy Chase, bro. He's a Rothschild. Evelyn de Rothschild. We don't like the Rothschilds. We do not like the Red Shield. We do not. Why don't we like the Red Shield, class? Because the Red Shield took over the whole fucking world. And this is, I think at current, this is only my second Rothschild that I put in the episode, or the first two episodes. There's a lot. Excuse me. To keep it short and sweet, because I want to be on the topic tonight, Epstein was mentored by the Rothschilds. I forget which one it was specifically. It might have been Evelyn, because it was a man, and I think the other two that I included in this series are women. Yes, so it's actually this guy. Yes, this guy right here is literally the man that brought up Epstein. He paid him a lot of his money in the 70s when he was coming up and he didn't have anything, and everybody thought he was just this goofy little Jewish man that wasn't very smart. And side story, Jewish people were very well known for being smart when it comes to math and finance. It's part of the reason why we get stereotyped for being bankers and money counters and all of this crap. You know what I mean? The stereotypes don't write themselves. We are typically pretty good at money, and we are typically pretty good at, math. We'll just say math to keep it broad. These guys are the ones that kind of invented banking way back when. I've talked about it a little bit briefly, but they've had money for centuries. So they can just kind of throw it at the things that they like, Oh, yes, I agree with that statement too, Joe. I agree with that statement. And Edward, I keep saying Ed because I see your username. Edward, if you're watching, bro, read that comment again. We are only as good as the company we keep. Birds of a feather. when my daughter was born, we'll bring this up top. When my daughter was born, in the last 20 months, she's 20 months old about 3-4 days ago. And, she's not 2 yet, so we still kind of count months. In the last 20 months of my daughter's life, I've lost at least 6 or 7 friends. And I say at least because that's the amount of friends that I've actually physically counted and gave a shit about at one point or another. And I don't have hate for them in my heart now. But the second my daughter was born, things just started slowly changing, Some of them cut me off. I cut some of them off. And then some of them, you just kind of fall apart naturally, But where I'm going with that is birds of a feather, dude. There's a lot of people that'll never know my daughter, including some of my own family. That's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. My daughter deserves the world. She didn't ask to be here, so it's my job to make sure that everything she sees is just, you know what I mean? I'll cry about my kid right now. I really will. I love my daughter so much. All right, so Evelyn de Rothschild, he attended events. Ariane de Rothschild, she's a French banker. She's not beating the allegations. She's also not French. She's Jewish. Her last name is literally Rothschild. She's Jewish. French banker, social ties, mostly tied to Ghislaine Maxwell. So, I'll be as blunt as fuck. If she didn't have the last name Rothschild, I probably wouldn't even put her on the list. I don't have anything about her. But she's a French banker. She's tied to money. She's tied to Maxwell mostly, and a little bit of Epstein. Basically, I think that they have some photos of them at a party. I think they do. It's either this gal or somebody else. Let me see to just make it easy. Because if not, then I'll look like a dumbass and we can move on. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, I'm a dumbass, and that's fine. I have no problem being a dumbass. I mixed this gal up with somebody else, but basically, as you could see from my preliminary search, there's not much on her, okay? She's really just tied to Maxwell. And just being tied to Maxwell is not indicative of a crime. Joe Rogan said this, really well, and I forget exactly, the context of the situation, but he said something along the lines where it's even if you're a pedophile, even if you're a Hitler, even if you're a Nazi, just insert the biggest piece of shit here. Even if you're that biggest piece of shit ever here, you're not that piece of shit 24 hours of the day, right? You have loved ones. You have things that you care about. You have things that you nurture, right? You get where I'm going with that. Just being tied to Maxwell doesn't mean that you're a pedophile. It doesn't mean that you've trafficked women. It doesn't mean any of those things. It could just mean that you guys went to college back in the day because she was a French sorority girl. Ghislaine, she's a sorority girl, So when I put all of these people in here, just reminder, not everybody's convicted of a crime. Some of these people are just on the list because I got some tea and I want to spill it. And that's fine. Who's next on the list? Darren Indyke. Is that it? You guys see him? Yep. Darren Indyke. That's a funny name, dude. It really is. He was Jeffrey Epstein's personal attorney for decades. Now, we'll go up to FaceTime real quick, just to reiterate. Personal attorney for decades. Not defense attorney. Personal, private counsel. You can think about it as this is the guy that you would keep on retainer if you had a lot of money, and you would just pay him money, so that way you could call him at literally any moment of the day and say, "Hey, dude, what the fuck do I do if this happens?" And he'll answer that question for you. Okay, he was not his criminal defense lawyer; he was private counsel. So now you know. This is the guy that handled his affairs, his transactions, his real estate, his life. Okay. After Epstein died, Indyke became the co-executor of his estate, meaning that he controls what remains of Epstein's fortune, estimated at $500 to $600 million at the time of his death. The United States Virgin Islands Attorney General sued both Indike and co-executor Richard Kahn, which I don't know if I've discussed him yet. Have I? I think I have. Oh my gosh. I think I've talked about Richard Kahn, but if not, he's gonna. Oh my gosh, yeah, he's literally the next guy. Perfect. This is a perfect segue. Okay, sorry about that. A lot of names on this freaking list, boys. Sued both Indike, the United States Virgin Islands. They sued both Indike and the co-executor for the insurance. Now, for you guys, just real quick, just super duper sidebar. An executor is somebody that handles your afterlife affairs financially when you die. I do life insurance. If I sell you a life insurance policy, your beneficiaries will typically come in with an executor if they're not the executor themselves to take care of your assets. How are we going to take care of your funeral? How are we going to sell the ranch house? How are we going to get rid of that car? How are we going to get rid of the kid's debt? You know, things like that. That's what an executor does. Okay. So the United States Virgin Islands sued both Indike and co-executor Richard Kahn, alleging that they both participated in and enabled Epstein's trafficking operation and should not be allowed to profit from managing the estate. Because, of course, naturally, if you're an executor that's not family or next of kin, typically you get paid to manage the estate. Because, of course, if you're next of kin, you're going to get paid too. It's called the will and testament. You know what I mean? When you get left all of this stuff from your loved ones when they die. God forbid. God forbid. That lawsuit is part of ongoing legal proceedings that's going on currently. Indike has denied any wrongdoing. I want to start there, or I want to pause there because I got some stuff to read from you guys in the chat here. He goes, "Bro, I cry all the time talking about my daughter. Don't you do it?" Oh yeah, he goes, "Don't you do it because I won't be able to help it. I'll welt your shoulder up with those tears. Don't you do it, Bubba." No, man, that's just real talk. I get very emotional about my daughter. Let's see the next comment. First day of school, I'm not even fabricating or exaggerating. First day, me and 3 women of the family, in-laws-ish. But me and the 3 taking part of school. And once the deed is done, I get back. I grew up with my daughter in that moment, in that day. Growing pains. Yes, sir. That's exactly what that is, man. I tell Kenzie, my wife, Mackenzie, I tell her I cry more now as a dad than I literally ever did. And those who know me know I've been through some shit. Lord knows I've been through some shit. But I cry more now as a father, just existing. You know what I mean? You just exist and there's shit I went through as a kid that I would never put my kid through. No disrespect to my mama. My mama's a sweetheart. This is not about her. But there's stuff that I went through as a kid that I wouldn't put my kids through. And yeah, you know what I mean? You just start to witness that now as an adult, and you see how other people treat kids, and you're like, fuck, dude, I could never. I would literally mag dump anybody on this street for my child. Anybody. Like, seriously. And I'm not even a violent person. That should obviously go without saying, but I'd mag dump anybody for my kid. I would create wars for my kid. I would press nuclear buttons for my kid. On the inverse, I'd also be super duper peaceful for my kid. I'm working on my emotional stability for my kid. Not like I'm unstable, but just, it gets really easy to anger when your toddler doesn't fucking listen, boys. So we're working on that. We're trying to be more patient. And I think we're getting better every day. Next up on the list, this is that co-executor, Richard Kahn. This man right here. This is NBC News, free use. NBC, don't try to sue me. This is free use. Okay. Richard Kahn, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime accountant, he gives a closed-door testimony to the House Oversight Committee. He testified for roughly 6 hours recently, just back in March. That's fun. Now, this guy's also an attorney with a long professional relationship with Epstein. Those two men together have been responsible for managing claims against the estate. What that means is things like victim compensation funds that have been paid out to settlements to dozens of survivors. So the last two men that I named, they're pieces of shit. This guy's a piece of shit. He's actively trying to prevent victims from getting paid out. The guy's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. Just objectively. Okay? On one hand, that fund has provided real money to real victims. However, on the other hand, critics have argued that it was designed to resolve claims quietly, limit further litigation, and preserve the estate's assets without ever requiring a full accounting of what Epstein did. Basically, the thing existed so he didn't have to wash his hands, or he could wash his hands, basically. Now, the next person we're going to put on this list is actually a group of people. And I had AI help me with this one because I want names, motherfucker. I want names. The next person on this list is Ghislaine Maxwell's legal team. So we're just going to name them. We're just going to name them. Because I'm sorry, if you're willing to defend a pedophile, you are a pedophile. I don't care. I'm not going to hear a counter argument. We got David Oscar Marcus. We got Laura Menninger and Jeffrey Pagliocca. I don't know how to say that. We have Christian Everdell. We have Bobby C. Sternheim. And this last one, it looks like he's a veteran. Or she, he or she. I don't know. Let's pull him up. That was 4 or 5 names there. I wanted to compile that because I had to actually cut some of these names out of the stream. But we are still at 100. We're going to still be at 100. I think we're actually at 102 when we get done. So you'll have that. First time today that they're asking for my location. We'll make sure we say no. Looks like Bobby, with an I should have guessed, is a lady. Ooh, it's a lady. Ooh, it's a lady. Oh, yeah. That one's, what's going on with this one? She's taking some hairstyling tips from Ghislaine, I think. What's that about? Okay, so that's the legal team. Who's next? Michael Ryder. Now, before we go into this, big disclosure. Big disclosure. The man that I'm about to show you on my screen, and I kind of already did show you a little bit of, this is the reason that there was ever a federal case against Jeffrey Epstein in the first place. True story. In 2005, one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims came to the Palm Beach Police Department. Ryder was the only one to take it seriously enough to build an actual investigation from the inside out and even making a task force to take this on. His detectives with that task force, they gathered evidence, interviewed victims, and they built a case that documented Epstein's abuse with enough detail to prosecute. He, however, then ran into a wall. Local prosecutor Barry Kreischer seemed reluctant to pursue serious charges. So then Michael Ryder did something extraordinary. We'll go back to showing you him now. He did something extraordinary. He wrote a letter directly to the FBI and federal prosecutors, essentially going over his local district attorney's head. This is not a normal thing for police chiefs to do, by the way. This carries a huge professional risk. If this comes back and bites him in the ass, he basically loses his job. To keep it short and sweet, he would lose his job. For sure. You don't go above your boss and tell them how to do their fucking job. And that's exactly what he did in this moment. Okay? So this guy, if you ever run into a gentleman named Michael Ryder and you're at a place that serves alcohol, you offer him a beer. Simple as all get out. Okay? Simple as all get out. This guy's a good guy. Good guy. That's not a normal thing to do that he did. He did it anyway. The federal case that resulted, the one that Alex Acosta then buried with that non-prosecution agreement, it only existed because Michael Ryder refused to let it disappear. This man is one of the unambiguous heroes of this story. So, this gentleman with a nice smile, I'm gonna go take a little bathroom break real quick, and I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna let you guys see him real quick for a moment. We'll give him the stage. And then, yeah, I got to use the restroom real fast. Give me just 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm back. Cheers, boys. Cheers. I see there's a lot of people here. How you doing? When you're drinking Pepsi, it's a Pepsi. When you're drinking Pepsi, you got to take a leak. It's a Pepsi. Cheers. Saturday night, by the way. I mean, come on, dude. Taking a couple of the yummy yums. This one I don't know if I talked about it earlier, but it's blackberry, dude. The White Claw, Pepsi Surges are so fucking good. I don't really care for seltzers a whole lot, but dude, the White Claw Surges are nice. 8%, you get fucked up quicker, and I swear they have more flavor than the regular ones. It's more alcohol and more flavor. How does that work? I don't know. But I like it. So, where we left off, Michael Ryder's a good guy. We like him. We're going to stay on that trend. We're going to talk about another good guy. Julie K. Brown. Sorry, good gal. We're going to talk about a good gal. She's an investigative reporter for the Miami Herald. Like I've told you guys before, the majority of this abuse took place stateside in essentially Florida and New York. So this gal worked for the local news agency. Now I'll say it here with emphasis. Without Julie K. Brown, this case does not happen again, right? So she's the reason why he got rearrested in 2019. And when he says, the Pepsi look a little different down here where I'm from, but right on. Yes, it does. It looks a little different. What's funny though, I say Pepsi because if you're quick about it, it looks like those blue Pepsi cans, dude. That's the only reason why I say it. It's a good one. Salute Mr. Ryder and Mrs. Brown. That's it. It might even be Reader. It's R-E-T-I-E, or excuse me, R-E-I-T-E-R. So it might be Reader. I'm not sure. And I'm sure I've butchered a few names, right? But salute to these people. Now, Julie K. Brown, she's the reason why the second investigation took place. She's why he got arrested in 2019. She spent years working on her series. It's called Perversion of Justice, which published in November 2018. If you haven't watched it, I'd recommend watching it. Excuse me. Pepsi's got some carbonation, right? If you haven't watched her series, I definitely recommend doing so. I'm not sure where you can watch it. I watched it way back in like 2020 when Homeboy died. What is the where can I watch this? Where to watch? I'll just put that on the stream real quick so that way you guys can at least see it. I thought it was on Netflix originally, but where was it? Oh, it's on PBS. So it's on PBS and YouTube. And if it's on PBS, I'm sure it's on YouTube for free. So there you go. If you can find it, go watch that, dude. It's an explosive analysis. She was following every victim for like years. Every victim that went public, I should say. So let me read actually some of that stuff. She tracked down victims. She found women who had never spoken publicly. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, she actually did find women that hadn't even been public. She documented the 2008 plea deal in granular detail and explained clearly and specifically how victims' rights had been violated. Now, then the series ran, the public paid attention, and federal prosecutors from there, here, let me pull her back up. You guys don't need to see the AI there. From there, federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York reopened the case. He was arrested notoriously at Teterboro Airport in July 2019. None of that happens without this woman right here. So she's a sweetheart. If you're drinking tonight, salud mi familia. Okay? Where else did I go? Brown has won numerous awards for the work, but more importantly, way more important than any accolade, she gave survivors a permanent, public, journalistic record that no court could seal and no settlement could erase. She is one of the most important journalists of the 21st century. And I'll say that again. She is one of the most important journalists of the 21st century. Because she's not talking about what the fucking weather is going to be when your kids are going out for Memorial Day weekend picnics. She's not talking about what your favorite sports team's going to do if they don't make the playoffs this year. She doesn't talk about that shit. She basically stalked an international criminal, followed his every fucking movement, and helped his victim see the light of day. She's a sweetheart. Same thing as Michael Ryder. If you run into this gal, you offer her a beer, or you offer her a gin and tonic, or you offer her a margarita. Come on. Come on. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. You know? And are we like two sides of the same coin? Is both the same? It is the same. It's a Pepsi, baby. It's a Pepsi. Pepsi Surge. You could see it. Look at that. Pepsi Surge. Blackberry. You could see it, baby. Come on. Come on. Now, we're going to get into some weirdos. Oh. I didn't do it. Dang it. I should... It would have been perfect if I had my share screen up. I said, we're going to get into some weirdos. We're going to get into some weirdos today. Ready? This guy. He appeared on flight logs to Little St. James. Epstein used his name to build scientific credibility. Mr. Stephen Hawking. English astrophysicist and cosmologist. Now, as you guys know, he had ALS. It just took forever to get him. I shouldn't say that, but it took forever to get him, okay? For context, as you guys probably know, Eric Dane just died recently. This gentleman right here, right? And he had ALS, but it took him quick. It took him in like, oh, shit, I don't even want to know, like 2 years. But anyway... Stephen Hawking didn't get the quick ALS. He got the slow ALS that just makes your teeth stick out like that. I didn't say that. I did not say that. The reason why I'm absolutely slandering this man is because they say that he has no allegations of wrongdoing, but it's also known from the Epstein files that Mr. Stephen Hawking liked midgets. And I do mean that sexually. He very much got aroused to the idea of little people engaging in promiscuity to keep it stream friendly. I don't know anything about the sexual function of somebody who is that disabled, but it's known from the Epstein logs that he was sexually aroused by anatomically midget people. So yeah, I'm going to put him in the fucking list. I'm going to put him in the list. Oh, I know, dude. 13 months after his first conviction is crazy. And like I broke about in the first episode too, he had work release, so he was leaving the prison 6 days a week for 12 to 14 hours a day. Okay? I mean, dude, you just leave the prison. I'm just going to leave for the day. I got to go to work. Oh, must be fucking nice. We get 3 hots and a fucking cot. You get your own private wing of the fucking prison. The cops are on your payroll at the prison, and you get to leave whenever you want. Roger that, dude. That's cool. That's really cool. I wish I could have that. No, I don't, but you know what I mean. Okay. No allegations of wrongdoing, but the guy liked midget porn, to say the least. Al Gore. Yep, that Al Gore. The guy that wants you to go to jail if you don't make the green universe thing happen or whatever the hell. This guy, dude, he's been like for the last 25 years trying to get everybody to get an electric car. And basically he's an environmentalist. And that's fine, but that's what this is. He's greasing palms, dude. He doesn't actually care about the environment. He's just getting his palms greased. That's all that is. Okay, so you got Al Gore. No allegations, but he's in the contact book. You got Colin Powell. No allegations, but he's in the book. Now, Colin Powell's a heavy hitter. Statesman, former Secretary of State. As you know, he's got a military record. He's a 4-star general. Why is a 4-star general in the files? What does the files have to do with the military? Very interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. Oh, yeah, Joe, I did hear about that. Matt Gaetz talking about the breeding hybrid program. I'll actually tell you, one of my earlier episodes, you'll like this. This is a way older episode. It's before I'm starting to get the setup. I got lights and a mic and all sorts of shit. I got another episode way back. It's about the Montauk Project, which talks about like gene splicing with animals and shit on a private island just upstate New York. Dude, go check that episode out. They're literally talking about cloning animals like 50 fucking years ago. It's pretty sick. And basically that island is why we have Lyme disease. No exaggeration. So yeah, everything that you are talking about regarding the hybrid program, yes, dude, that is a real thing. The hybrid program and the Montauk experiment are literally, and I'm going to put this up talking head style, the Montauk experiment is literally what Stranger Things is based off of. Like literally, the hybrid entities, the whole upside down thing, that whole topic is about the Montauk experiment. So definitely go check that out. Even if you don't go watch my video about it, just type it on your computer. Montauk Project, New York. You'll see some cool freaking photos of animals that literally washed up on shore. So. And they're not like, oh, that's a dog. Like, it's like, what the fuck is that? So definitely go check that out. It's pretty cool. Whoops, I didn't mean to put that up. I accidentally put my outro up. We're not leaving just yet. Don't worry. We got a good stream tonight. Don't you worry. We've been going for an hour and a half. That's crazy. Okay. So, 4-star general. No allegations, but he's in the book. If he's in the book, he's on the pod, baby. If he's in the book, he's on the pod. Henry Kissinger. Now, this guy you can go dig up. I don't give a fuck. You can go dig it up. From one Jewish man to another Jewish man, go dig this bastard up. He's a war criminal. I don't have 100 days to talk about his 100 years. Let's just say that. But he's a piece of shit. He has lied to our politicians. He's lied to our presidents. He's lied to everybody. He was a, quote, political scientist and former United States Secretary of State. But he served for decades behind the scenes under multiple presidents, feeding them fucking fake intel so we would get involved with wars that we absolutely verifiably should not have gotten involved with. This man's a piece of shit. No allegations of sexual abuse. But you should just Google some of the things that he's on record saying out loud. You should just Google the things that he says out loud. He is a warmonger, I think is the word to call him. He's a warmonger. He wants you to die for him. And no thank you, you fat fuck. Excuse my French. Tony Ortega. Gotta make sure I get the right one. I think it's this one. Right here. This was the journalist that covered Epstein early. Nothing too crazy on him, but he did cover this shit way, way, way early. Sadly, he wasn't taken very seriously, which is fine, but he is still somebody you tip your hat to. Next, we've got Vicky Ward. This is the journalist who wrote about Epstein for Vanity Fair in 2003 and whose editor for Vanity Fair killed the victim accounts from the story. Excuse me. Man, the Pepsi's Pepsiing. I want to say that again. The editor-in-chief of Vanity Fair killed the witness testimony from victims and their accounts of what had happened. She was going to cover it. Vicky Ward was going to cover this 23 years ago. A quarter of a century ago, she was going to cover this. She was going to crack it out. She's going to break it out wide open. And her boss goes, no. We can't do that. So she's a sweetheart. And Vanity Fair. This is no longer a magazine that you read. I said that again. This is no longer a magazine that you read. That is no longer a magazine that your wife reads, because let's face it, it's a feminine article, feminine magazine. That is not a magazine. You no longer will be purchasing that magazine. Just don't do it. Don't do it. They covered for sex traffickers. Why would you want to give business to them? Right? Come on. Come on. Come on. You just don't want to do that. Same thing with Victoria's Secret. Ladies, listen up. Ladies, let's get close. Let's get personal. You and I both know, you don't even got to tell your man on stream. You and I both know Victoria's Secret makes subpar lingerie anyway. That shit breaks in 6 to 12 months. Fellas, if you guys have fun, that shit might break in the first night. So you don't need Victoria's Secret, okay? You don't need Leslie Wexner and L Brand. You don't need none of that. You don't need none of that. There's some good products out there. You don't need Victoria's Secret. You don't need to be buying money or buying products from people that are trying to harm your kids, man. Come on. Let's be holy. Let's be godly. Okay? Let's be Christian. Let's be Christian. Okay, where am I at? Share my screen. Another one. Conchita Sarnoff. Nah, I'm just going to own it. I could be fucking her name up. I've been drinking at this point. The 8% tall boy is basically like 3 regular boys. Probably shouldn't say that when I'm talking about the topic I'm talking about. We got 3 boys. Whoa. Fuck, dude, I've been drinking. Pepsi. Conchita Sarnoff. I don't know how to say her name. I don't. We'll call her Connie. Connie Sarnoff. She was the author of Traffic King. And this is actually really cool. I mean, she's actually really smart for this. This is really cool. I want to show this. She took the word trafficking and made it basically like an amalgamation. Traffic King. Oh, Jesus. Come on, Google. I think it was a book. Was it a book or a movie? Yeah, it was a book. So, this is arguably the most fullest extent that you'll read about the Jeffrey Epstein case, and you'll notice the victim on this book is a boy, right? The boys don't get talked about on this case. And that's a part of the reason why I talk about this stuff too. So, I'm never going to tell my story. It's not my story to talk about, but I was inappropriately touched when I was a child. It wasn't by an adult. It wasn't rape. It wasn't anything like that. It was just touching that I did not approve of. That's what we'll call it. I did not want to be touched. I was touched anyway. I handled it accordingly. And anyway, people don't believe male victims. To this day, if I told you my story, you would say, no, the fuck it didn't. It didn't happen, whatever. So we just don't talk about it, and that's fine. But this gal talked about some stuff. And we'll share the screen again, and we'll talk about her again. Let me pull her back up. This gal wrote the book called Traffic King, the Jeffrey Epstein case. It was published in 2016. Years before the public story, or before the story went mainstream, because let's be real. Just because people like me and you may have known about Epstein for years, bro, dude, when Epstein died in 2019, most people had no fucking clue what was going on. Can we just be objective for a minute? Most people didn't know what was going on. They did not. They thought some rich guy died in prison. They did not. Now, people that were chronically online, we all thought Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. That was the meme. That was the hashtag. That was the thing we said. And I'll make an episode about this, but some of us have been on the topic for a lot longer than you guys. And that's not a brag, because, dude, I just had to shave it off. I got gray hair in my beard at 28 years old. I got gray hair in my scalp, 28 years old. Okay, this is not a brag. I carry trauma from the things that I know about our world, and it's not a brag. I wish I didn't know it. I really do, because I'd probably live a longer life, honest to God. But anyways, I'll make an episode about what radicalized me. I was 12 years old, and I found some intelligence that I shouldn't have found at 12 years old. We'll just say that, right? But when Epstein died, it wasn't mainstream yet. It really was. I would say like 6 months after it started becoming mainstream, but that was the whole thing. That's why COVID happened. That's why COVID happened, guys, because we started figuring the fuck out. We started figuring it the fuck out. So COVID happened. They basically manufactured a bioweapon, so that way we would shut up, go inside, and lock our doors. And further yet, not only would we lock our doors, we would start to hate everybody who thought differently from us. That's psychological warfare. You're going to hate everybody that thinks differently from you? You mean you're going to hate everybody that thinks against the narrative? You're going to hate them, and you're going to be trained to hate them by your government? Oh, got it. Now I'm caught up. Now I'm figuring it out, right? And I can't definitively prove that Epstein was connected to COVID, but holy fuck, read between the lines, right? Read between the lines. Oh. He goes, I'm already balding at the crown, dude. My boy. Yes. I'm excited to see Bald Eddie, bro. No cap. I'm excited to see that. We're getting old, baby boy. It's happening. Let me read this chat real quick. Think about it. Through Gilgamesh. Oh, Gilgamesh, the epic Gilgamesh. Like he was trying to live forever, and he lived for a long time, and he was a mighty king, and then they found his tomb. Correct. So when we went into Afghanistan, may my father rest in peace. My dad died literally a month before we invaded Afghanistan and Iraq. I forget which one came first because I'm young. But my dad died right before then, thank God. He died stateside. He was killed by a drunk driver. He was an Army Ranger, so he didn't have to see a lot of this stuff. But when we went over there, the official story was because of weapons of mass destruction and all sorts of stuff. No, it was Gilgamesh's tomb. Like you just said, Joe, we actually found Gilgamesh's tomb in 2003, right after we invaded. It was, because we invaded, I think it was was it March of 2002 or March of 2003? I might be getting the year wrong, but either way, we invaded that year, and then very shortly thereafter, we found the fucking tomb. And they're trying to say that civilian architects found the tomb, but my guy, literally the whole country is getting blown up by United States military. You're telling me that just random archaeologists found that? No, bro. The military found that. The military found the tomb. Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because I've been wanting to do a full deep dive on that. I've been hearing about Joe Rogan talk about that and Sean Ryan talk about that. Even Ian Carroll's talked about that. So yeah, I really want to do a full deep dive on that. But I recently just found that information myself. Good topic bring up for sure. Where are we at in this chat, dude? We got off deep here. Connie, I want to give her some love real quick. Connie, start off. Again, without this gal, we don't get the love we get. I want to read some more of her synopsis real quick, and then we'll get to the next gal or the next person. She did some of the earliest long-form investigative work. She identified patterns and connections that later journalism built upon. Like myself, I am building upon her work. Her book was largely ignored when it came out. Scout's Honor, I've never read it. And I'll admit that. I've consumed a lot of the material from the whistleblowers that are in this case, but I have not read her material, and I'll admit that. She does represent the long tail of journalism in this story, the reporters and the writers who were doing the work when no one was paying attention. Again, myself included, and that's okay, right? Palm Beach Pete, yeah. Two sides of the same coin. That's exactly it. Two sides of the same coin. Palm Beach Pete. I don't like that guy. I assume you're talking about Pete Hegseth. Yeah, that guy's a fuck ass. You saw the other day he read a quote from Pulp Fiction and pretended that it was a scripture quote, a quote from the Bible. He said that he tried to pretend that it was Ezekiel. So stupid, dude. I think that's blasphemy. I don't even care what you believe in. We'll get off Connie again. If you don't believe in the Bible, that's totally fine. I'm not here to be a Bible thumper, but I think we can objectively agree that parodying or making fun of or making light of the holy textbook of another religion, that's just fucked up. Why would you do that? There's no need to do that, you know? So Hegseth is a piece of shit. Plus, he's a domestic abuser and an alcoholic and all sorts of shit. This is my one and only drink today, for crying out loud. Wild work, he says. I agree. Wild work. Okay. Where were we at? We keep doing this. We're having a good time tonight. Let's go into the next one. James Patterson. He co-authored Filthy Rich, which helped bring the story mainstream. Nothing crazy about him. He's a good guy. We'll share his face for a moment, but he's a good guy. Next up on the list, we have Brad Edwards. He's a Florida attorney. Now, he spent over a decade, beginning around 2008, representing Epstein survivors in civil litigation. This man sued Alex Acosta. Okay, he sued Alex Acosta. Excuse me. Yeah, he sued Alex. So the guy that I said is literally public enemy number one, the very first guy that we should probably prosecute. This guy tried to fucking prosecute. So good for him. We like him. If you see him, buy him a beer. Buy him a few beers. He's handsome. Get him a few beers and a lady to go home with. Amen. Okay, so he challenged the non-prosecution agreement. He was part of the legal team that eventually got a federal judge to rule that victims' rights had been violated by the way the NPA was handled. That ruling in 2019 by Judge Kenneth Mara, who I will go over here in a moment, was a landmark moment in victims' rights law. It came directly from years of litigation Edwards and his colleagues drove. Edwards co-wrote a book about the case, Relentless Pursuit, published in 2020. Now, it is one of the most detailed first-hand accounts of what it actually took to fight Epstein's legal machinery from the outside. Okay. Let me see what this is. Oh, hell yeah, brother. Stay up. I'm all good, baby. What would we say? My mom had a boyfriend back in the day, and we love him. Edward knows him. He knows Macy. We always said, it's all gravy, baby. I might not join the Army, but I'll join the Navy. And we don't even know what that saying means, but it basically just means it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. And we love Macy. Macy's awesome. That's one of them boys from Tacoma. Anybody from Tacoma in the chat knows how Tacoma gets down. And it gets down. But who's next on the list? Brad Edwards. He's the boy. We like him. We're gonna let him have a good evening. We're not here to slander him. Who's up next? We got Paul Castle, and I'll go over the Judge Kenneth Mara here in a moment. It was just chronological. I had him out of order. My fault. Up next, we have Paul Castle. He was the law professor at the University of Utah, former federal judge. He joined forces with Brad Edwards. That's part of the reason why he's in the middle here. He joined forces with Brad to represent Epstein's survivors in challenging the non-prosecution agreement. He's also one of the country's leading experts on victims' rights law. So, saying the quiet part out loud, God forbid you ever need this man's services, he's the one that you should go see, right? Again, God forbid you ever need to use a man like him, but a man like him is who you'll need. God forbid you need to use a man like him, right? He's the leading expert on this topic. He knows exactly what to do. The Epstein case became one of the defining applications of that expertise. For lack of better phrasing, it basically showed his resume on file. Castle argued, successfully I might add, that the Crime Victims' Rights Act required that Epstein's victims be notified and consulted on the plea deal, and that Acosta's teams had violated both of those subplots to the law by keeping them in the dark. That legal victory did not put Epstein in prison, but it established a precedent. Okay? It created a public record, and it validated what survivors had been saying for years. They were deliberately excluded from the justice process. Fuck that. I already got to go to the restroom again, boys. When you be drinking Pepsi, you got to go to the restroom. Oh my gosh. Long stream tonight. We're coming up on almost 2 hours again. Federal Judge Kenneth Mara. We're going to go over him now. He was the judge for the Southern District of Florida in February 2019. He issued a ruling that sent shockwaves through the legal community. Basically, he found that federal prosecutors under Alex Acosta had violated the Crime Victims' Rights Act when they concealed the non-prosecution agreement from Epstein's victims. The ruling that came from that is blunt. It used the word concealment explicitly. It validated what survivors had been claiming for over a decade. So there is that. Billiam, yes. Billiam. I've been dropping Billiam references in the chat whenever there's a bill on this, like Bill Gates, Billiam. Man, that's funny. Palm Beach Pete is a person in West Palm Beach. Look him up. All right, let's pull him up right now. Palm Beach Pete. It ain't going to be nothing nasty that shows up on my computer, is it? Oh, Palm Beach Pete. He looks like Epstein. That's the guy. That's the guy that was driving down. He was driving down the freeway. Yeah. He was having too good of a time in his convertible. Yeah. Yeah. Two sides of the same coin. Yes, sir. I know Palm Beach Pete. Oh, wow. He goes, you could play a video for us when you want to take us a pee break, man. I don't have a video on deck, though. That's the problem. Maybe if I can get one. If I can get one set up, I'll do it. But I don't know if I actually have one, I'm afraid. That's what I am going to do, though, soon. Speaking about that, we'll talk about some quick developments soon. I just didn't have it in line for tonight's episode. Soon, I will have my Spore Busters advertisements on a Rolodex. So basically, whenever I do need to go to the restroom, I'll just put my advertisement up for my Spore Busters, and then I'll go take a leak, and I'll be right back. Because the wife and I, as you guys know, we do have Spore Busters. Just a short, quick plug. It's a 6-ingredient formula that's safe for your kids, multi-purpose cleaner. Wipe your shit up. Wipe your butt front to back, right? Wipe your butt front to back with Spore Busters. I said that. I'm like that dude on TikTok, LC Sign, the one dude that makes fun of everybody and then advertises his signs. I'm going to say some raunchy shit, but you're going to remember me. Amen. All right, let's talk about, what's his name? I didn't even go over Kenneth Mara. All right. Kenneth Mara, federal judge. Oh, no, I did go over that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so it used the word concealment explicitly. It validated what the survivors had been saying. Judge Kenneth Mara is a good man. We like him. Carly Kloss. Now, she has no allegations, but she is the sister-in-law to Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner, for those who are unaware, that's the son-in-law to Donald J. Trump, if I remember right. I think that is. Yeah, if I remember right, Kushner married his daughter. Jared Kushner. Yeah, Ivanka Trump. Right. So they've been married almost 20 years. Jared Kushner is a Jewish man, which is fine, but for context, he's a Jewish man. He's been whispering in Donald Trump's ear about Israel for the last 5-10 years, just giving him all sorts of heebie-jeebie mumbo-jumbo. Some of it's real, some of it's not. So we don't really care. We don't really care for Jared Kushner very much because he's been getting some of us killed in the United States by his rhetoric, a.k.a. getting our soldiers sent overseas, right? So there is that. There is that. But I wanted to show Carly Kloss because that's not related to him directly, but she is the sister-in-law to Jared Kushner. This lady is a supermodel. She is an entrepreneur, and she's directly related to an intelligence asset that I just told you has been whispering bullshit in Trump's ear for 10 fucking years, right? She's on the list. She's not in the little black book. She's on the list. That little first link that I went to, right here. This is going to be your best friend, by the way. Literally just go here. Type in your favorite actor. Not my boy. Not my fucking boy, okay? Not my boy, Nathan Fillion. He ain't in the files. But, you go Carly Kloss. I think she's got a couple of hits. I think. She might not be in the files directly. She might have been in the socialite circle with Maxwell. Oh, there you go. Okay, never mind. So she is actually in the files. She's in the files 18 times. And reiterate, some of these things actually... like she's just mentioned in passing in an email one time, right? So sometimes it's not necessarily related to anything deep, but she's mentioned. So we're putting her in. She's tied to the Kushners and the Maxwells. Next. We've got Heidi Klum. That's exactly who you think it is. She's got social connections to the modeling world that Jean-Luc Brunel operated in. I covered him way back at the start of this series on episode 1. I think he was named like 4 or 5. I think he was top 10. But anyway, she was connected to the modeling world that Jean-Luc Brunel operated in. Jean-Luc Brunel, to get you caught back up, this is the man that hung himself in his jail cell awaiting trial, just like Jeffrey Epstein did, in the exact same manner of death. She's tied to this man. I don't know if she's a victim. I don't know if she's a recruiter. I don't know if she's just somebody in passing, but she's on the list. Next person we're going to go over is actually the Victoria's Secret collection. And I've already talked about them today. They've already been getting slander. Ladies, stop buying from them. Ladies, stop buying from them. Men, if you're watching my stream and you're going down on your gal, you're having a good time, you're going out, you're having a good Friday, Saturday night, you come home, you see the panty line. If the panty line says Victoria's Secret, you're not going down on her no more. I said what the fuck I said, bro. I said what the fuck I said. If you pull down the pants, you see the panty line and it says Victoria's Secret. You give her two options. You say, lady, we going down to the mall tonight and getting you something else, or I'm calling you an Uber. That's that. We're not representing businesses. My wife's in the chat laughing her ass off. We're not representing businesses that are on record with their fucking money trafficking little girls and little boys, bro. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. And that's what I said earlier, honey. I even said that earlier. I said Victoria, she said it in the chat. She said Victoria's Secret is awful quality anyway. That's no cap. I said that earlier too, honey. No lie. It'll last 6 to 18 months on the most. And if you have a good freaky deaky night where liquor's flowing, it might not even last the whole night. So you don't need that Victoria's Secret anyway. Fucking overpriced. It's made in Vietnam by child labor slaves, and you just don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. So Victoria's Secret's catching a stray tonight. That's person number 90 whatever. I think I'm on 91 or 92. Now, the next people, oh shoot, it's actually still, I'm supposed to be up here. The next 5 people are actually unnamed Jane Does, okay? And I'm not going to name their stories because if I go too deep into their stories, eventually you'll start to figure out who they are. Not me or not you, but, you know, if I and every other podcaster starts talking about these people, eventually you're going to figure out who they are. So that's not what I'm here to do. We're just going to say there's 5 people that are unnamed. There are women whose names we do not know, who we will not know, and will not try to know. They filed their names as Jane Doe, who asked for privacy. They gave testimony that shaped this entire case, but whose identities were sealed for their protection. They are just as important as anybody on this list. Arguably more important, because they were able to tell a more vulnerable story had they not have been able to do, or excuse me, that they would not have been able to do had they named themselves. So if anything, they're the most important people in this list because they came forward and they had every reason not to. They didn't put their reputation on it, right? They just said this happened. Who's next? We're going to revisit one gentleman, Robert Maxwell. Now you could see it in his eyes, dude. The guy, this is literally Ghislaine's dad. You could see it kind of in this facial feature right here, the triangulation. Looks just like Ghislaine. Getting you guys caught back up again from episode 1 if you haven't heard about it. This man owned the textbooks that you and I and your children read in their classes. McGraw-Hill. Watch this. Don't believe me? I'll fucking show you. See this logo? You see that logo? How many of you guys have a vague memory of that logo on the spine of your textbook when you were in math class or social studies? How many remember that? How many remember that? We'll just go like this. We'll go McGraw-Hill Social Studies textbook. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. This man owned the textbooks that were in your school. He literally owned the publishing company for, I think, 2 or 3 years until he died. And I talked about this with you guys originally. He died under very weird circumstances. Very weird circumstances. He was found overboard, drowned off his yacht. And they couldn't find out if there was foul play or not. So, sketchy. Giving you his synopsis real quick. He was born in what is now the Czech Republic. He was a British media tycoon and mogul, member of parliament, father of Ghislaine Maxwell. He died in November 1991, found floating near his yacht off the Canary Islands. Officially ruled a drowning, but questions about the circumstances have never gone away. Now, He has had an he's had a documented relationship with Mossad, Israeli intelligence, writing extensively in multiple published works, including by journalists who covered him during his lifetime. Maxwell used his media empire as a vehicle for influence and allegedly intelligence operations. Why does this matter? Because Ghislaine Maxwell grew up in that world. She was immersed from childhood in a milieu where powerful people used social leverage, where connections to intelligence services were normalized, and where the accumulation of compromising information on powerful people was an understood tool of power. Okay? Yes, definitely don't tell her to shop at Wayfair for the draws. Yes, sir. Wayfair be trafficking kids. We've been over that one. I think everybody's woken up to that one a little bit because, dude, that was weird. That was weird. Don't talk about Wayfair. Don't talk about Wayfair. We'll have another hour on that just alone. The next person we're going to talk about is the unnamed co-conspirators. The non-prosecution agreement granted immunity not just to Epstein but to unnamed conspirators. Courts later ruled this violated victims' rights, but the immunity was granted anyway. Those people know who they are. They know who they are. Now, this lady right here. Who's this? This is the guard on duty the night Epstein died. One of two. I'm not going to name the other person because they did the same thing. We're just going to say they did the same thing because they did. They both fell asleep. They both were criminally charged for falsifying records. They both had their charges dropped after agreeing to cooperate. And this one had some interesting things that she was Googling about Jeffrey Epstein before he had died. And afterwards, she had received mysterious bank deposits. Excuse me, that was actually before his death. I'm so sorry. On stream fuck up. She actually received mysterious bank deposits before he died in the tunes of thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. Wow. Thousands of dollars. She had gotten money. Tova Noel. She was making money. What's that about? What was that about? She falling asleep on the job? Making money on a different paycheck? What's that about? Come on, man. Come on, man. Why was she getting paid out? Why was she Googling things about Jeffrey Epstein? You want to know what she was actually Googling, by the way? It's rumored. Can't be confirmed. But it is rumored that she was Googling Jeffrey Epstein dead the day that he died to see when it would hit the news. I don't have proof of that. That is just a rumor. But that is the going fucking rumor right now. And as you see right here, Yahoo News is reporting about the bank statements. So this lady is fishy, 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 fishy. And the last person we're going to talk about today. The last person we're going to talk about today on this list. It's you. It's you. The American public. Yeah, you're on the list. You're on the list. Because this story was minimized, it was buried, it was spiked by editors, prosecutors, and institutions for decades. And don't hit me with the, no, we didn't know, no, we couldn't have stopped it, no. Dude, I just spent the last 4 hours and 2 days of my life breaking it down. Just 100 people that are on this list. We are all complicit until we make a fucking change about it. Okay? We are a complicit piece in this crime until we make a change about it. Every time somebody took a deal, every time an editor killed a story, every time a donor wrote a check, they made a choice about what this country tolerates. That's the 100th name. It's all of us. All right. I'm sweaty. That's 100 names. And I'm not done. I'm probably going to go to 200 when I'm done with this. I'm probably going to go to 300. We'll see how many names I can pull out. I got time. Some of those people are monsters. Some of those people are convicted criminals. Some are witnesses. Some are survivors who deserve nothing but respect. And some of those are just names in a book. And we may never actually know what that means. But here's what I keep coming back to. Jeffrey Epstein died in federal custody while awaiting trial. Jean-Luc Brunel died in French custody while awaiting trial. The 2 guards fell asleep. The cameras malfunctioned. The non-prosecution agreement gave immunity to people that did not deserve immunity. And Ghislaine Maxwell, the one person who could have named names on her oath, she is sitting in a cushy, cozy federal prison having never given full cooperation to prosecutors. The pages are still being turned on this one. And I promise you, I am flipping through. If you want to go deeper on any of these names, specific episodes on the non-prosecution agreement, the MIT donations, the intelligence angle in the apparatus, the financials, let me know in the comments. I got you. As always, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share the hell out of this one. I need you guys to help me out. Once I get to probably 200-300 subscribers, it's going to start filtering itself. I'm going to get a lot of people. But I need you guys helping on the groundwork. I need you guys helping me on the groundwork right now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. This is exactly the kind of content that the world suppresses. It's the kind of content that the algorithm doesn't love, but it is the type of content that most of the people want to hear about. As you guys know, I am Ethan Page. Nothing is off my table. We're turning the pages. And I'll see you on the next episode.